Hello, and welcome to the first video for Introduction to Symbolic Logic. In this video, we're going to go over just a few things. We will ask and hopefully answer a couple questions, like what is symbolic logic, and why should you care? We'll talk a little bit about the beginnings of symbolic logic, including sentences and truth functions. I'll talk a little bit about this course, and a little bit about me. So what is symbolic logic? Well, logic is a huge subject, and we really cannot hope to completely cover everything about logic in a single class. This class is going to focus on symbolic logic, which, as you might guess, uses symbols. Now, it may seem intimidating, but everyone can do it. Why should you care about symbolic logic? Well, symbolic logic itself provides the basis for formal reasoning in math, computer science, and philosophy, among many other disciplines. Now, it helps basic reasoning skills, which generalize to everything else that you'll do in life. And it's kind of a cheesy analogy, but I like to say that it's like strength training for your mind. So for example, no matter what sport a person participates in, a basic part of what they will do involves strength training and conditioning. So if you get stronger and you're able to run faster, that will help you in virtually any other physical sport that you might participate in, like basketball or volleyball, baseball, or track. Now, in each of these different sports, you need to know specific skills, right? So if you learn how to shoot well in basketball, that might not help you very well for batting in baseball. But strength training, just generally getting stronger, generally getting in better shape, will help you for all of these things. I see logic as similar in how it helps you in other disciplines. So if you get very good at practicing the kinds of skills that we will practice in this course, that will help you whether you're interested in neuroscience and psychology, for example, or literature, history, economics, political science, math, other sciences, pretty much anything else that requires critical thinking, which is virtually everything worth doing in life. Now, there are some basic elements of symbolic logic that we should get started with. The very first thing, the most basic, is the idea of a sentence. Now, by sentences, we mean something very specific. In logic, sentences are statements that are, or at least can be, either true or false. For example, Mars is a planet. Please close the door. Is it going to rain on Saturday? There are an even number of stars in our galaxy. Cats are the best pets. These are all things that would count as sentences in everyday English, but not all of them will count as sentences in the context of our class. Mars is a planet does, because that's something that's either true or false, and in fact it's true. A sentence like please close the door, however, isn't either true or false. It's a command or an imperative. You can either obey the command or not, but it's not the case that please close the door is itself either true or false. Similarly, for is it going to rain on Saturday? That's a question, and it's a yes or no question. But that itself is not true or false. The answer could be true or false, or rather yes or no, but the question itself, that sentence itself, is not true or false. The last two, though, they do count as sentences in our particular context. There are an even number of stars in our galaxy. That's either true or false, given that there is a finite number of stars in our galaxy, which seems to be a safe assumption. We might not ever know, and we might not be able to tell exactly how many stars there are in our galaxy, so we might not be able to know whether that sentence is true or false. But for our purposes, it's an example of a sentence. And cats are the best pets. That sentence, it's an opinion. It's the kind of thing that different people will disagree about, but it could itself be true or false. So that will also count as a sentence in our sense, even though it's subjective. Last one, apples are made of plutonium. Yes, that's also a sentence in our sense. Now, many sentences are more complex, and we can break them down into components. So for example, Mars is a planet, and Jupiter is a planet. We can combine these two sentences with the word "and" to get Mars is a planet and Jupiter is a planet. It's a rather basic point. Now, slightly more interesting, if these two sentences are true, if Mars is a planet is true, Jupiter is a planet is true, then is the following sentence true? Mars is a planet and Jupiter is a planet. Again, it seems rather simple, but of course the answer is yes. Now, in general, if any two sentences are true, you can connect them with the word "and" to get another true sentence, right? So, for example, lemurs are mammals, the sky is blue. Lemurs are mammals, and the sky is blue. If the first two sentences are true, then the sentence you get by conjoining them is also true. Now, in this class, we're going to symbolize sentences using a letter to stand for each one. So, for example, we could just use the capital letter L to stand for lemurs are mammals, and the capital letter S to stand for the sky is blue. Also, instead of the word "and," we will use the symbol here, this caret symbol, which is what's called the "and" symbol, to symbolize lemurs are mammals and the sky is blue as L and S. So in symbols, this says the same thing as this sentence here. Lemurs are mammals and the sky is blue. Now, the particular symbols that we use for sentences don't matter, and their meanings don't matter either. So, for example, each of these three examples, P and Q, E and K, R and B, are all examples of symbolizations that we'll use in this class. And interestingly, for all of them, if each individual component is true, then the whole sentence is true. So, for example, if P is true, and if Q is true, then the entire sentence P and Q is also true. And it just doesn't matter what P means or what Q means. That's just the way that "and" works. And that's really what we're going to be studying in this class. It's just a matter of logic, not the meaning of the words. Another example is connecting sentences with the word "or." So, for example, you can have "there is chocolate ice cream in the freezer," and "there is vanilla ice cream in the freezer." Now, you can combine them with "or" to get "there is chocolate ice cream in the freezer," or "there is vanilla ice cream in the freezer." Using symbols, we can have the following. We can use the letter capital C to stand for "there is chocolate ice cream in the freezer," and a capital V to stand for "there is vanilla ice cream in the freezer." The logical symbol we will use for "or" is this symbol here, the "or" symbol, which looks sort of like a capital V, but it's the upside down version of the "and" symbol. We can use that, and then we will get C or V, which just means there is chocolate ice cream in the freezer, or there is vanilla ice cream in the freezer. Now, we're going to talk much more about truth functions and symbols in the next video. This is really just to give you a feel for what we're going to start out with. Now, to end this video, I just want to share a couple of very general thoughts on this course. These thoughts might be useful to other areas of your life too. So first, if you haven't yet figured this out about life or about college or taking classes, it's generally true that you are going to get out of it what you put into it. So in my experience, everyone who puts effort into this class does very well. Many people actually end up enjoying this class quite a bit, and in the several years that I've taught this, I've had many students who have found this to be one of their favorite courses at KU. But of course, I don't expect you to just love this class. So even if you don't enjoy it, I think you'll still get a lot out of it if you put in the work. Another thought is just to think about the fact that this is your time, and you should spend it wisely. Now, time is a finite resource. Again, maybe an obvious fact, but maybe not one that you think about all that often. College is one of the few times where you can devote much of your attention to learning, and that's really kind of a cool thing to do. Unfortunately, someday it will be over. You'll go on to do other things, and you will be spending your time probably doing a lot of things that someone else decides you need to do. When the time is over, when you're done with college, you might kind of ask yourself, do you think you will have wished that you would have watched more Netflix? Will you have wished that you had gotten more sleep? Or will you have wished that you learned more? Now, there is time for many things, right? This isn't me saying, oh, you should spend all of your time learning logic because it's the best thing that you'll do with your life. That's not true. Well, it might be true. That's up to you. But of course you should watch Netflix, and of course you should get some sleep. The thing is, there's not time for everything, right? And you should be mindful of how you spend your time. You should make conscious decisions about what you're going to do with your time, rather than just let it slip by. Okay, with those general thoughts out of the way, let's talk about some requirements for the course. First, you should read the syllabus. It's online on the Blackboard page. You should read the book. I'm not going to go through every single thing in the book. I really see these lectures as a way to sort of augment what's already in the book and to give you sort of a different perspective on it. But I don't think that you'll do very well if you just listen to my lectures, especially when it comes to doing some of the example problems and practice problems. This is one of those things where you really have to do the work for yourself. One nice thing about the online format of this class is that you can watch the videos repeatedly if you need to. You can pause, you can go back, you can watch them over and over. That is a nice feature, so please feel free to watch them multiple times if you feel that that's necessary. Again, do the practice problems. We'll get to that soon, but it's really important to try these problems out on your own. And also make sure you do the assignments, which will consist of quizzes and exams. Because this class is going to be so abbreviated, it's only 4 weeks, we're really just going to have 4 exams and some very, very short quizzes. But because the pace is very rapid, it's important that you keep up with everything that we're doing. Finally, you're going to have access to either a camera on your computer or on your phone or a scanner to upload your assignments. If you really want to, if you're on campus, you can drop them off at my office in Westco Hall. My office is listed on the syllabus. It will probably be easier for you, though, just to upload your assignments and send them to me over email. Again, the full requirements are found on the syllabus, which is on Blackboard in the syllabus tab. So do take a look at that if you haven't done so already. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about me. My name is Dr. Corey Maley. I'm a professor in the philosophy department. And I have undergraduate degrees from the University of Nebraska, that's where I'm from. And there I took logic courses in the computer science department, the math department, and the philosophy department. Basically, I took all of the logic courses I could get my hands on because I thought it was fantastic. And I also have a PhD in logic and philosophy of science from Princeton University. So you might have guessed, I really love logic and I love teaching it. And I hope you'll enjoy this class as much as I do. So for next time, begin reading Chapter 2 of the book, The Essentials of Symbolic Logic, which is required for this course. And make sure you get the 3rd edition. It is available in the bookstore, or you can try to order it on Amazon. Just make sure you get it as quickly as you can.